I grew up in a pretty healthy family. So for me, having my own family, to be able to take care of my wife, to be able to take care of my kids, it's something that I've been looking forward to my entire life.
Melody 家庭 Podcast。
Hello, 大家，欢迎回到 Melody 家庭。Today we're going to be doing an English podcast because we have our very, very, very special friends, Nika and Michelle. Michelle. Michelle, actually, you have your own. I was going to say podcast, but you have your own YouTube channel too. 就是 Michelle.
Is that what it's called? Michelle.
I think so.
Michelle Zhuang.
Michelle Zhuang.
Michelle Zhuang. 然后他们就是有两个非常可爱的宝宝啊 and 奶哥就是奶哥，大家可能都已经很熟了。He also has his YouTube channel. At this point, it's like 70,000, 80,000.
Yeah, 70.
Yeah, subscribers, and you talk about all the things you want to talk about, and you don't care who you offend talking about it.
Yeah, I just talk about what I want to talk about.
He actually enjoys offending people.
I enjoy offending people. Yeah, if I don't offend people, I feel like I'm doing something wrong.
Play the devil's advocate. Well, today I was thinking we could talk about a topic that, I mean, probably won't be that offensive to most people, but I think it's very interesting to most people, which is relationships. It's interesting to me particularly because I am not in one currently, but I am curious about it. So I wanted to ask you guys about your own experience, like dating and then engagement and then marriage. And then while you guys are sharing, I want to like jump in and ask questions too, because I feel like your relationship and the whole process of it is probably very different from what modern couples experience. I mean, I don't understand modern dating. I don't understand at all. So not that I understand where most people are coming from, but I just feel like there is that dichotomy. So I'm curious to hear your story. 那要不要先讲讲? Let's hear, before you guys met each other, what expectations or what sort of things were you looking for in a partner?
It's a good one. You want to go first?
Okay, I'll go first. So I was your typical teenage Christian girl, I would say.
Okay.
So most typical Christian girls, they expect to get married. They pray about getting married. I didn't really pray, 'cause I don't formally pray very much, but I did make a list. I made a list, like I want him to be good looking.
Number one.
And that was number one.
Not number one.
Well, they were numbered, but
Up
it wasn't by priority. They were just numbered because I was making a list. And so, of course, he had to be attractive, obviously.
To you.
I'm attractive. No, actually.
In
on my
general,
list,
just
has to be-
it had to be generally attractive.
Like Brad Pitt
to people in
attractive?
Had
general.
to look good.
Yeah, well, not Brad Pitt specifically. I don't find him that attractive.
Okay.
I like Orlando Bloom as Legolas, the elf.
Okay.
This is
People
so like
understand.
Orlando
Orlando Bloom attractive.
but not
Okay.
Orlando Bloom in other movies with his normal hair.
That's
I
very
know what you
different.
mean.
Just the long, straight
I
blonde
only like
hair,
him
the
in
elf
elf
look.
version
So,
of
I only
so
like him in that movie
attractive.
too.
The elves are just attractive.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
that's
So
a
elf
side note.
attractive. Got it.
Yeah, and like my sister would say that. She's like, no, everybody's beautiful. I'm like, that's not true. Like, I want to marry someone who other people think is attractive.
Whoa.
Not just attractive to me, but obviously attractive to me.
Yeah.
But I was also, I think people call it purity culture these days. So I was also raised in like afraid of sex, afraid of the intimate part of marriage, and like totally putting that off until getting married and hoping that I will enjoy it because I want to have a lot of kids. That was kind of like my mindset. So I wasn't looking to date anyone when I was younger because I didn't want to date anyone until I was ready to get married around that time.
But then your younger is how old? Like, and what age were you? Like
15.
technically
You didn't want to
ready?
date anybody when you were 15.
I didn't want to date anyone
Okay.
before I was like 18
Okay.
because I wouldn't get married any earlier than that.
But after 18, you're a freak.
But after 18, because I wanted to get married young.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just expecting it would work out like my parents. So my parents got married when they were 20 and 21. And then my
they
mom...
met each other when they were
They met each other
18, 19.
in Bible school.
18, 19.
So 18, 19, yeah. So I was expecting
Not
it to
in
happen
the year
something
18,
like that.
19, when they were 18 and 19.
They're 18 and 19 years old. And so I expected something similar would happen to me because I grew up in a Christian homeschooling family. And we also lived in Canada. rural Canada, in the middle of nowhere. And if you go to Bible school, that's just what happens. You find someone, you get married.
That's how it works.
So I went to Bible school, but I went to America for Bible school. Went to the United States, into California. And that's where I did actually meet Benjamin, but we barely met each other. And it took a couple of false starts before I really felt comfortable with the idea of finding a guy that I could marry. Because for the first while, I'm not easily attracted to people, like to guys. Just because I had like, before getting married, I had zero sex drive. Because it was like off the table for me. It's like, no, I don't even want to think about it. I don't know anything about it. I did take biology class, but that was it. And so I was just waiting until I found someone that would be a good father to my kids. And then I would just marry him and then figure out the rest later. So I was putting that off. But that also made me very kind of afraid of guys. Like, unless I think I'm going to marry you, I'm not going to be friends with you or talk to you. And I'm not going to be attracted to you either.
Guy friends? Just
not until I went to Bible school. That's when I really started to relax and to be open to finding guy friends, because I wanted to find a husband. That's the reason I started making friends with guys. Yeah. I feel like I got off track. What was the question?
What were you looking for in a partner?
Looking for. Yeah, just someone who'd be a good father, somebody with strong Christian moral values, same as me. And what I thought I wanted and what I really wanted were slightly different, of course. There was a moment where I met a guy who I thought was the kind of guy I wanted to marry, like a very on fire Christian. But I realized I'm not actually that kind of person. I'm not like the radical, pray for people on the streets, love the Lord, and study the Bible every day person. Although people could categorize me that way, because I totally grew up in that Christian era, that zone. But I actually really wanted more of a down-to-earth, practical Christian guy, like someone who lives the characteristics and values of Jesus.
So you're saying the radical fire guy who didn't really actually live the
I realized when I met that
Jesus.
guy who was attractive and who was kind of radical, I realized he was kind of intimidating, and I compare myself to other people often, not like physically, but like most girls physically, like attraction wise, will compare themselves. But I like compare myself like, oh, is this person better than me or not? Like in all areas. So with guys and girls. And if I was to stand next to that kind of guy, I would feel like bad about myself, because like that's not me. That's not my personality. And like he's a better Christian than I am. And so that's intimidating and kind of annoying. So I didn't want to get into a relationship with a guy like that. So I realized, okay, actually that's not the guy I want. And I just want somebody that I can feel comfortable with. And so when I met Benjamin, he was at first just a friend. Like I wasn't looking at him as a potential partner
At that
all.
point, you were open to just friend.
Yeah,
like
I was
guy
just
friends.
being friends. Yeah, and for fun and also for practice. So that I was just really comfortable hanging out with him, and it was really nice. It was refreshing, because there was also previously a different guy, where we kind of sort of dated for a little while, and during that entire relationship, which was 2 weeks long, I was so anxious, and it was terrible. And that kind of scared me away from dating too. That was a couple years before I met. 1 year before I met Benjamin. So during the time of making friends with guys, I realized, oh, what I thought I wanted was not what I wanted exactly. And also relationships with guys is scary, but I just need to focus on the friendship part of it, and then I won't freak out. So that was that. That was a long-winded explanation.
I've never had you on any video of mine talk as much as you just did.
I know. It's
Whoa.
because we're
So nice.
talking in
Open-ended
English.
This is so
question.
nice.
We're also doing this in English.
This
Okay.
is
Yeah,
so
that's
nice.
true.
Okay.
What about you, Benjamin? What were you looking for?
What was I like when I was single?
Yeah, when
so
you were single.
So a little bit of history. I had one very serious relationship when I was in college. I dated a girl for 4 years. I thought I would marry her. We broke up. After that, I was 22, just graduated from college. I stayed single I wanted to stay single for 2 years. Ended up being 7 years. And what I was looking for was, well, during the time, I had a lot of girlfriends.
Yeah.
很多女生朋友, a lot of girlfriends.
Yeah.
But I don't know. None of them actually worked out the way I wished they would. Either they would be very nice, but not Christian. Or they would be Christians, but there are quite a few red flags. So nothing went... I would argue I didn't even... nothing came close to becoming a romantic relationship. But none of them actually became, even close friends at all.
Even
So,
close to friends, as in just friends, or like
yeah, not even friends.
Oh,
Because I was like, this is not gonna work out. Being a single guy, hang out with a single girl, being
Okay.
friends, it could complicate
I
things. So
have a question
I just gave
on
up.
that.
Okay, go ahead.
Then, do you believe that girls and guys can be just friends?
I believe that you can. Well, it depends on your age and your situation. If you Is that us? Nope. If you are a married guy, like I am, yeah, I would say that I have a couple of friends who are girls, women, and we're friends.
Yeah, like we're
But-
friends.
But a lot of them are, well, they're not teenagers. They're not in their early 20s. They're more mature. Some of them are in serious relationships. Some of them are already moms and married. Some of them are older than me. So yeah, it depends. I think men
Well-
and women boys and girls can be friends, but it depends on the situation. It's very hard for a guy being single, a girl being single.
So
and
that's
just
what
being
I'm
friends.
asking.
Yeah, it's
Do you
very
believe that
difficult.
a single guy and a single girl can be just friends? Or usually, because I mean, just hearing what you were saying, you said during the 7 years you had a lot of girls who were friends. But then you also talked about it in a sense that you were actually testing the waters to see if they could potentially be romantic partners. So for me, that's not just friends. You were looking to see. And I think in my experience, that is true in most cases. If a guy and a girl are just friends, but usually at least one party is looking to see if it could be more than
Yeah,
that.
if it could be more, yeah. Because there's always the potential. But what
Yeah.
I did was, like I said, I broke up with my ex-girlfriend, and for the first 2 years, I would tell everybody, all of my friends, I am not looking for the next relationship for the first 2 years. So I would tell my guy friends to not introduce girls to me. I would tell my girlfriends that, okay, so there's nothing's gonna happen. I want to stay single for at least 2 years. So I was very clear about what I was doing. And then after those 2 years, I still would tell people if I was not interested in them that I just want to be friends. So it's very clear. And I think that's what happened with us. So by the time I met Michelle, do we have to give them the whole story about how we met in Bible school?
But
at
you haven't
BZSM?
actually answered my question yet. What were you looking for?
Oh, okay, so I was looking for, first of all, a Christian.
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of the relationships didn't work. My friendships didn't work out. I never tried anything more. And I even took a step back.
So if they
because-
were not Christian,
not Christian, yeah, didn't want to start that because I tried that before. That's what
Yeah,
happened
his
to my...
ex-girlfriend was not Christian.
Yeah, my ex-girlfriend, she would come to church with me. She did the prayer, 决志祷告.
oh, she did, but she didn't
did
get
it,
baptized.
But I
or-
don't know. Maybe she did it for me, because of me. You know, it's not a good idea to try to get somebody to become a Christian just because you're dating them. It never works out that way. Usually it doesn't work out that way. So I didn't want to try that again. I wanted to find somebody who was a Christian, who wanted to be a mom because I wanted to be a dad. So not a lot of girls in Taiwan look forward to becoming a mom.
So just those two, you think already 刷掉了
yeah,
一大堆
刷掉 most
Christian
of the people.
and want to be mom?
Yeah.
Really?
刷掉most of the girls. So yeah.
Huh.
Plus, how old was I? 26, 25, 26, 27 years old. So if you're looking for a girl who's also a Christian, who also is looking forward to becoming a mom, and they're in their early 20s, not a lot. Yeah, not a lot.
Probably not at that age yet.
So yeah. Pretty simple. And of course, I wanted to date and to marry a cute girl. So I had my
Obviously.
standards, of course.
Yeah.
Maybe my standards weren't as high as Michelle's. Like, oh, this person has to be really good looking. Like for
Elf
me, it's
level.
like I have to.
I
至少
wasn't
我要看得
seriously
顺
looking
眼.
for an elf.
At least I had to be attracted
Fairy.
to this person. Yeah. So and then I met Michelle.
You guys want to briefly talk about how you met and what attracted you guys to each other?
Yeah. Okay, so what attracted us? First of all, he made me feel very comfortable. I think that's one of the... There's two major things. He made me feel very comfortable, and he's also a very confident person. So I think confidence in a guy is very attractive. And actually, so physically attractive men didn't often attract me. I can count on one hand the number of guys I've felt attracted to. Usually for me, I would start to feel attracted to a specific guy if we had a good conversation, if he was a good listener and good at engaging me in conversation. Because I used to be extremely shy and I hated talking to people. And I, by the time I met him, I'd gotten pretty good at not being shy. But it was still a relief to find somebody who was easy to talk to.
Yeah, because Benjamin can talk a lot.
Yeah.
I can talk for hours by myself.
He can talk a lot, but he was also good at, when we first got to know each other, he was good at asking me questions and actually cared about, it seemed like he cared about whatever I said.
Yeah.
Which a lot of guys, like, don't do that, or they're not good at that.
I'm a good listener. Maybe.
Guys, take note. It's good lesson.
It's a good lesson. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of girls are attracted to that, like a guy who actually is good listening and confident. But how would you define confidence then? Because I think a lot of guys might think, "Oh, confident," and then it's
self-centered.
Like, yeah, there's a lot of different ways to express confidence. What does that mean to you?
Confidence, maybe like easygoing.
Oh.
So he doesn't seem anxious or stressed, or he's not trying hard.
Yeah, so you can't try too hard. It's not something you can try to be. Just like
confident is like
confident.
like it's not something you put on, like a face you put on. It's much more natural than that. It's like
comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah, it's like you value yourself, but you also value other people, and you have clear boundaries and things like that.
So that was your version of
those are the things that were attractive about you. I didn't feel attracted towards you until a couple months later, but at the beginning, why I wanted to be friends with you were those reasons.
Okay, so my side of the story was like this. I was at BSSM. I was at the Bible school that we were at. I knew I was going to be there for 1 year, maybe 2 years. And I know, and at the school, they encourage guys and girls to, if you're single, get to know each other, go out to coffee.
They're very big on marriage, yeah.
But I kind of gave up. Because after being there for the first semester and then having a Christmas break in the middle, I was like, nope. I tried. I looked around. There aren't any girls that I've gotten to know over the past 3 months that I am interested in. Either they're too young, or they're just like much older than I am, and that's it. So I kind of gave up. And then I attended the Single Life Workshop. You've attended it too, right?
Yeah, I
So
did.
you know what it is. Yeah, all three of us have attended Single Life Workshop. I attended the Single Life Workshop, and they gave us like homework. And the homework was, everybody's single if you attend the Single Life Workshop. If you're currently not dating anybody, at least approach somebody. Ask someone out for coffee. Do that. So I was like, okay.
Did they just encourage the guys to do that, or the girls as well?
Everybody. They encourage everybody to do that.
I don't think I did that homework.
Yeah, so that's what I did.
Yeah,
what I
good
did
job.
was, I think it was held over a weekend. So on the first day of school, Monday, what I did was I walked up to one of my girlfriends that I met in school, not even from my group, but a girl from another group. I said, hey, you're single, right? Would you like to go out for coffee with me? And she was like, what? But okay. So that's what we did.
But that was just to fulfill the homework, or did you actually like this girl a little bit?
I thought she was a cool person.
Okay.
She
had potential.
I wasn't really, we didn't know each other that well. It was always in a group setting. She's not from my group, so I've only had a handful of conversations with her, but she's a cool person. And I don't think we've ever even chatted over like Instagram or Messenger or Facebook or anything, but I did that. I was like, I want to get to know you more. And that was it. So we went out for coffee, and it didn't work out. I got to know her more. She got to know me more. And we're like, okay, it's not going to happen. It's not going to work. But at least I tried and I began something. So after that, I would be more intentional when it came to getting to know people. So even though by the time I met Michelle, we were 3 months away from graduation,
and
she was
to our countries.
She was a third year, so she was moving back to Canada for sure. She wasn't going to stay in the States. I knew that I was going back to Taiwan for the summer at least, and maybe not ever coming back.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I think it's impossible for me to get to know her enough within the last 2 months, 2.5 months of school, and then start dating her. But she's a cute person. So for me, of course, you have to be cute enough.
Yeah.
For me, for my standards.
I think
So-
for most people, yeah.
I think
So,
first impressions are very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. So first
They're
impression,
not the most important.
Cute
but
girl.
They're very important.
interesting girl. I think we got along pretty well the first day.
We're both nice people.
We're
so
both
that
nice
helps.
people. So we exchanged like phone numbers or something.
Yeah,
And that was it.
that was it. And neither of us had expectations about that.
Hmm.
We were just being friends.
And that's how it started.
And then who made the first call or who made the first move after that?
Okay, so first when we met, there was a few things. He made me guess his age, and that
Asians don't
that
raise
was-
in.
So
That was
here's the
strategic.
thing. Here's the thing. That was strategic because what happened was I had ladies in my group. They thought I was much younger than I actually was.
Mhm.
So
which
they
is
never,
unattractive. For
which
a
is
girl.
not attractive. So I would have girls who were in their late 20s or early 30s. They thought I was 20 years old or 18 years old. And like, nah, he's just a kid.
Yeah.
But I was 29. And then they were like, what? As if they would have considered, getting
Yeah.
to know me more if they knew how
figured
old I
it out
was.
too late.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay.
Baby face.
Yeah, I really need to let especially white people know how old I am.
Especially white people. It's true.
Well,
So
continue.
then you
guessed
found
my
out
age.
he was
Okay, so he made me guess his age, and so I asked like specific details because I hate this game. So I asked him, like, okay, so what kind of schooling have you finished? Have you ever had a job before? What did you do before you came to BSSM? Because then I can like have a ballpark of okay, he did college or he didn't do college or whatever. And so I guessed based on that information the lowest age I could because he looked really young. And so at the time I was 22.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was 22. And so he answered my questions, and then I guessed like a low number. I think I guessed like 26. I think that was my guess. And then he says, "Oh, he's 28. Were you weren't 29 yet?
I was 28. I was going to turn 29.
Yeah, in a couple months you were turning 29." So like, "Oh, okay. Well, that's still too young for my roommate who likes Asian guys." So
It was her thought.
That was what I was thinking.
She was like, oh, maybe this guy, I have a roommate who's single.
Yeah. So I had a roommate who was totally into Asian guys. That was her thing.
She's
She
not
watches.
Asian?
She's not
what?
Asian.
She watches
And-
K-drama.
She's Brazilian.
okay.
And her previous boyfriend had been Japanese, and so she just likes Asian guys.
It's like a-
It's very
like a fetish.
that is kind of a fetish.
okay.
Yeah. She might watch this later. I love you, Libby. Really do.
Oh, I think I
Um,
know her.
She know,
You do
yeah,
know
you
her.
guys, yeah. You
guys are the same
interpret it
person.
same.
Anyways. So that's what my thinking was. Oh, he's still too young for my roommate. Oh well, that's what I was thinking. And so we continued on, and then we found out we both like anime. That was where we became friends
Yeah.
because I love Studio Ghibli in particular, and at that time I'd only seen a couple of the movies, but I wanted to watch all of them, but I didn't want to buy them, so I wanted to find people that have them, and he has a roommate who had the whole collection.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, oh, okay, I will invite you over to my house to watch a movie. Not because I'm interested in him. I just want to watch a Studio
I want
Ghibli
the
movie.
movie. Show me the movie.
Yeah. And I can't like ask him, oh, ask your roommate to give it to me. Like, I have to invite you over to come watch it. And so it was him and another guy friend of mine who came over to watch the anime. But anyways, that's how we became friends. And that was our first hangout after meeting each other. Mhm. So I made the first move, but not really, because it wasn't a move. It was just watching a movie. that I
It's
wanted
kind
to
of a
see.
move. I mean, it wasn't too on the nose, but it was a nice move. I mean, it's like it's a connection, right? Like you have to
Yeah.
find ways to connect.
Yeah, and I had the goal of making more guy friends, so
Yeah.
hanging out with Benjamin was also a bonus.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then after that, because that happened before our mission trip,
hmm
I went to Japan for my mission trip. So, more Japanese stuff. So I bought tea for you and
Mhm.
your roommate.
hmm
Right? I think so.
Yeah.
And then I brought it over. So that was another hangout.
That was
we
another
had.
reason to show up at our house. So he came
Yeah.
over and I made him dinner, or I think my roommates and I made him dinner.
Yeah, we sat down, chatted for a bit,
Yeah.
gave you some presents, and I think that was it.
Oh.
Oh, it's the little girl away.
But it was.
I'm gonna
Can
go.
we hear her?
I'm gonna go. No, I turned the volume off. She's not crying though. Not yet, but I should pick her up.
Do you want to pick
The
her up
baby
right now?
camera's right there.
Yeah.
You can bring her over right now.
Okay, I'll bring her.
Okay, yeah, she's getting
she's-
upset.
She's wiggling.
It's the parents' sixth sense. Sixth
Yep.
sense.
I can continue the story.
Yeah, continue.
So what happened after that was I think we met up maybe 3 times or 4 times over 2 months. So it was not heading anywhere.
That's not a lot. That's like probably once every
know.
2 weeks.
Yeah. So it was not a lot.
Yeah.
And then it was almost graduation time. It was
Yeah.
like the end of April.
You didn't feel urgent like you wanted to see this girl every day or every week or something? You wanted to
So in my mind, I still had options.
Oh.
There were more than Michelle wasn't the only girl who was single who I was friends with. But I just, didn't find any time to hang out with anybody else, not really. There was another girl who was single, and I think we also had coffee maybe once, but didn't work out. That was it. And I think what happened was I think we bumped into each other randomly one time because they were selling Bethel merch, BSSM merch. And then you talked about going to school. And I said something about like, I can teach you math. I don't know why, but that was random.
Such an Asian thing to say.
Yeah, we ran into each other. And I remember, I think it was after that I was like, hey, maybe I should try to hang out with Michelle some more. So that's when I texted you and asked you out for to watch a movie.
That was
So-
like the
so
official date.
Wait, I
Kind
missed
of.
this part of the story. What did you just say?
Nothing.
This
I
is
just
when
said
you decided
no.
to
I just
talk to-
I fast forwarded
to-
2 months because
Oh.
for the first 2 months that we got to know each other, we didn't hang out. I went to your house once.
Oh,
We went on a second
that's when we started hanging out
campus
often.
mission
Is that what you're
trip,
saying? Oh, okay.
and that was it. Like we met up 3 times or 4 times during those 2 months,
Okay.
and that was it.
And then after that, it became more frequent.
After that, I asked her out
After
to
that,
a movie.
he asked me to do stuff with him all the time.
No,
It was like,
no. Didn't I
Oh.
ask you out for a movie first, and then we
Okay.
started
Oh,
becoming,
I
we started hanging out more.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he asked me out to a movie, and I told him I don't
She
like
said
movie
no.
theaters. The reason I said no is because I don't like movie theaters, and so he ended up giving those tickets to my roommate, and then
But we still went to a movie.
and then he asked me to go to a movie again later.
Oh, I did twice.
This is the second time. He didn't give up. And so the second time he asked me to go to a movie. And I was like, okay, I'll go to a movie with you because I think it'd be fun.
You should
But I
let people
texted
see
him.
her.
I texted him and I wanted to make sure because movies sound like date to me. Like it
Mhm.
sounds like you want to go on a date with me. And he didn't say date, but it's like that's what you do on dates. You go to the movies. Like that's your typical, stereotypical
Yeah.
movie date. I'm like, I don't want to date you.
Really?
So, like, I texted him. and
She
I
said,
was
"I
like,
don't want to date
hey,
you."
we're just gonna be friends.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to be clear. Like, I don't want him to have any kind of expectation, and then I have to like let him down later. I want to be very upfront. If I go to the movies with you, you better not be expecting anything out of it. Like that kind of idea. That's not what I texted. I texted something very nice and generic. I said something like, "Okay, we're both going to different countries soon, and I just want to be friends. And if you're okay with that, then yeah, let's go to the movies." So
yeah, I responded.
he responded with a bunch of smiley faces. Said, "Yeah, I was thinking the same thing."
No, I was
Something like that.
sitting on the toilet. I was like, how do I respond to this? Okay. How I respond to this text message might alter the course of my life for forever.
Man, I guess it did. Yeah.
So I sent a bunch of smiley faces or something like that. I don't know.
It was 3 smiley faces in a row.
Wow.
I remember.
Okay, you remember
I
that.
was sitting at my dining
So,
room table. I remember this.
In the end, she went to the movie with me. And then after that, we started hanging out more often.
Yeah, then he started to like ask me to random things or to do random things with him all the time. I was like, how does this guy have this much time?
It was
I was a
approaching the
third
end of
year. I did
school.
not
you
have
know,
that much time. I was
really?
busy.
You were busy?
Yeah, I was busy.
I didn't know that. Why'd you hang out with me if you were so busy?
Because apparently I liked you. But I didn't know it at the
You
time.
didn't
we
know
didn't
it
even
at
know
the
it at the
time.
time.
So it's not like we hung out every day. We probably
No.
met up another 6, 8 times.
Yeah.
And that was it because
8
it was the
times.
final 2 weeks of school.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I feel like that story, that last part, that story is like an encouragement to guys, like, so don't give up too easily. So a lot of guys could probably hear that and interpret it as the girl doesn't know what she wants. So even if she says no, I'm going to keep pursuing her. And that sometimes works and sometimes it doesn't work. Because sometimes the girl really knows that she doesn't want it.
Yeah, if he had tried to, if it had seemed to me like he wanted to get into a romantic relationship with me, I would have stopped having a relationship with him together.
But then that was his intention.
No. So what happened was even though we hung out more often during the final 2 weeks, we were still just friends.
That was your intention as well?
Yeah, I was like, I don't think, starting a relationship just as we're parting ways is a good idea. So I didn't mention it. Do you want to go to the last day?
The last day?
Yeah, washing our cars. You should just tell that part. And then I'll continue with how we started dating.
Okay, so we hung out often and we went to like coffee shops. We went to bookstores. What are you saying, baby? You want to talk? Okay. You can hang out with Melody. Yeah. So the last day, we were both selling our cars because we were leaving the country. And I was gonna wash my car because I like washing my car by hand, and he said, and so he wanted to hang out that day, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm busy washing my car, and he's like, well, let's just wash our cars together. I'm like, okay, fine. So he came over, and I really liked hanging out in his car because his car smelled really nice, and so I have a place in my heart for his car, which is not his car anymore. But he came over to my house and I showed him where to park, and then he got out of his car and he was just being his regular self, and he was wearing sunglasses and he's walking towards my house, and that was the first time I'm like, my heart skipped a beat. It's like, huh?
Was it the first time?
First time I felt attracted to him.
Feeling?
Yeah.
What is feeling?
Like, huh? That's weird. So I ignored it.
That's
and
weird.
And I mean, that morning I'd also been thinking about, okay, what do I want to wear? I want to wear something I can wash my car in, but I also want to look kind of cute. And so without realizing that I liked him, I had already been liking him for a little while. But it wasn't like serious because I didn't expect us to start a relationship for the same reason. Like, we're about to go back home. I don't have enough time to get to know this guy. Yeah. I think he likes me by now. I'm pretty sure he's interested in me. Whether he's going to pursue something or not, maybe not. So I was thinking, today's the last day we're going to meet in person. If he's ever going to bring it up, he's going to bring it up today. That was what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And so I was a bit nervous because I was going to turn him down. If he said anything, I was going to say no. At least that's what I thought I was going to say.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh, baby girl. Maybe she's hungry. I can feed her in a minute. So it was the last day. We washed our cars together. He has to film it, and he likes to film everything, which is also annoying. But I said, okay, fine. And then I was washing the dishes after we had breakfast together in my house, and I was thinking, okay, he's gonna say something now, isn't he? Because he's about to leave. He's gonna say goodbye, and then I'll have to turn it down, and it'll be sad. And then this is what I was thinking. I was super nervous, and he didn't say anything. He's like just chatting like normal, like it's an everyday thing, and we're not gonna ever see each other again. And I'm like, okay. And then we said goodbye, and I gave him an awkward hug, and then I closed the door, and then I cried. I was like,
and then you realized your true feelings.
and then I was crying, and I was like, okay, I guess I like him, because this is a weird reaction if I don't like him. But it was over in my mind. It was over, and then we were going to go back home to our own countries, and that was it, because I don't stay friends with people long distance. Like, I don't upkeep relationships like that. I just don't have that capacity. My relationships are all like distance based. So if you're in my life, if I see you weekly, well, we can be friends. But if I move away, bye-bye. And that's it. So that was it. I was expecting it to be over at that point. And he never said anything, so I guess, he really did just want to be friends. But I thought he liked me, but maybe not. And that was it. So that was the last day, which did not turn out to be the last day. But anyways, Benjamin can continue the story. I thought you wanted to finish. Okay. You wanted to finish talking. I can hold her.
So was that your plan though? Like you weren't going to mention anything?
Yeah,
that
it was
last
my
day?
plan. I didn't want to mention anything. I thought it was a horrible idea. Last day meeting this person, possibly trying to start a relationship. Either way it went, if she turned me down or if she's like, okay, let's be together, would be a bad idea. What I did was I still traveled around in the US for one more week, and I called her. I called you twice while I was traveling. Same time zone, easy, you know. And I was thinking, while I was calling her, what I was thinking was, okay, if we're actually going to start something, it's going to be long distance. Let's see what it's like just talking over the phone. So I called her twice while I was traveling in the States. And then I said goodbye. And I flew back to Taiwan. And in my mind, I was like, you know, I have a lot of friends I just made at BSSM. I think I'm going to stay in touch with a couple of them through Instagram, through Facebook, doing video chats every now and then. But I knew that nothing was going to last for a long time. Maybe we could still keep in touch for maybe a year or 2 or 3, and then everybody will part ways, be busy, and that'd be it. So after I got back to Taiwan, I decided to call her and have a DTR. So
Define the relationship.
So I called her and I said, hey, you know what? I really like you.
Ah.
I don't know, because now we're like really apart, like 15-hour time difference. I don't know if you would want to start a relationship with me. And if we are going to start a relationship, it'll be long distance.
Yeah.
You're going to have to consider moving to Taiwan, which is some place that you don't even know, didn't even know existed until I told her I'm from Taiwan. Are you up for that? And plus, we don't know each other that well. We've only hung out less than a dozen times, maybe 10, 11 times. That was it. So we decided to stay in touch, call each other every day for 3 months, and then decide if we wanted to just like end this. Like, nope, just be friends, you know, Facebook friends for the rest of our lives. That's it. Or if we wanted to start a long distance relationship. So after calling each other for 2 months, do you want to explain this part? Or?
Yeah, I can. So we agreed just to get to know each other, call each other every day, up until I was going to start college, because I had enrolled for a 2-year program, and I figured by the end of the summer I should know whether or not I would really want to marry him, and then be willing to move to Taiwan. So that's what we did. But 2 months in, I was already sure what I wanted to do. And so I called him and I said, hey, can we move our DTR up? Because I don't want to waste time. And so the reason I already had made up my mind was because there was, we would talk every day for about an hour. And half the time we would be talking, he would be complaining about, no, not complaining. He'd be talking about things that he was dissatisfied with, things about his job or things about his schedule, because he's a very busy person. And my greatest fear was that, if we did get married and he is a busy person, what if I feel like, I'm stuck in Taiwan, in this foreign country, taking care of my kids 100% by myself, and he's practically absent because he's so busy with his ministry and his work. Like, if that is the scenario that's going to happen, then I wouldn't want to marry him. And so I was thinking about that every time he was complaining about being tired or about working so much. And so I knew I wanted to be able to tell him, like, hey, I need you to slow down, or I need you to get more sleep, take care of your health, or things like that. I wanted to be able to tell him that. But as his friend, it's like, that's not my place to tell you that. I'm not going to be bossy or tell you how you should be living your life way over there in Taiwan. But if I'm your girlfriend, then I have more influence and I'm allowed to like say what I want. And so while I was turning over this situation in my mind and kind of being afraid of that scenario playing out, I was praying and I was asking God about it, and God told me that if in our relationship, like, I'm always fighting against him, Like if I'm always the one nagging him to take some time off or reminding him to go to bed on time. Like if it feels like it's me fighting him, then it's not going to work out. It's not going to be a good relationship. But if we work together as a team to find a work-life balance and to raise our kids, then it'll be okay. Mm-hmm. Like even if it's difficult sometimes, it'll be okay if we're a team. And so that's when I decided, okay, I want to be a team with him.
I want to be on your team. Oh. So as you were sharing, I think one thing that stood out to me was like even just the way that like Benjamin approached the topic of the DTR and everything. It was very intentional. Like right from the beginning, you guys were doing it with the intention of, if we're gonna do this thing, we're possibly gonna get married. Like that's the whole point of it. And then even as you were sharing, you were saying like, one day, like if I get married, and I just think, so that's what I was saying at the very beginning, the dichotomy between this and like modern dating, because I think most like kids or even young adults or adults, like they approach dating not necessarily with that mindset. It's just like, I like you, you like me, and we like to keep each other company, and also we won't be alone on a Friday night. It's not like that serious. Like, do you think it's necessary to be so serious, like right from the get-go, like in terms of dating, or is there like a space to just?
I think friendship is a great space to be like that.
Yeah, friendship. Okay, so not necessarily boyfriend girlfriend then.
No, so deciding to be his girlfriend was more difficult. Like it was a bigger decision to me than deciding to marry him, because I knew that if I decided, okay, I will think I want to be your girlfriend, that's equivalent to me thinking, I think I want to marry you. Like I would never consider dating a guy that I couldn't see being a good dad to my kids or being a good husband to me.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't think about that when they start dating.
Now, the thing about dating, of course, is you can break up, and it's not as serious as getting married.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a grace period. Like if you realize things about the other person or about yourself, and you realize it's not going to work well, then you can still break it off without, having a divorce. So it is a different relationship than being married, but it is a different relationship than being friends. But I think being in the friend zone, you can find out a whole lot about another person and about yourself. You don't need to have a romantic dating relationship to consider marrying somebody.
That's true. I think maybe if people learn to do friendships well, because I think maybe because a lot of people are scared, or maybe they do come from a very conservative background like you did, so they don't have that many just platonic guy friends or platonic girlfriends because everything is hyper serious. So I don't know, it's kind of hard, right? It's like you want to get to know the other person as just friends. Okay, I'm gonna turn the question on Benjamin. So it seems to me like from Michelle's perspective, like deciding to be someone's girlfriend is like almost equivalent to, and I agree with that, because I think I also approach dating in a very serious way. It's like I'm already thinking like, do I want to be this person's wife, blah, blah, blah. And it sounds so serious, whatever. I feel like that could be a bit of a turnoff for some guys. Like, is that how you approach it? Because I think for a lot of guys, it's like, if I have to think about, am I gonna marry this girl already? Like, that's a big turnoff. Like, that's super intimidating, I think, for a lot of guys to think that far ahead. Like, will I go on a date with you? Yeah, sure. Like, and then like you'll keep me company? Yeah, sure. But like, am I gonna marry you? I think that's really scary for a lot of guys. I mean, what was that for you?
Well, I wanted to get married.
Okay.
So for a guy who does not want to get married,
yeah,
bringing up marriage, of course, it's intimidating.
Yeah.
So if you're a girl who wants to get married, and then mentioning marriage is going to scare away a guy, scare all of them away.
Okay.
Because that's not a guy you want to waste your time with. Mm-hmm. A guy who's scared of getting married is not a guy who a woman would want to, who a woman who is looking forward to marriage should be hanging out with. So yeah, scare all of them away. And yeah, it's a sad fact that these days It's a sad fact that these days it's increasingly rare for you to find young people who are actually looking forward to getting married. And there's a lot of guys, yes, there are a lot of guys who are intimidated by the idea of marriage. So yeah, forget about them or get rid of them as fast as you can. They're not worth your time. So here's a problem. The people who date these days are dating because they're bored or they're lonely.
Yeah.
So when they're dating, they're looking for fun and companionship. This is not what makes a marriage successful. Being fun or not, the companionship or solving the loneliness problem is not what a healthy marriage is there for. So people who are lonely, people who are bored, and they want to solve this problem by finding somebody to be with, that's not a good idea. It's not going to help your problem. It's not going to help you actually become better at being not feeling lonely. And if you're looking for fun in a relationship, of course, it's nice to have a fun relationship, but feeling bored and trying to get a boy or a girl to solve that problem isn't going to work. Because when you're in a marriage, there's a lot of work that you have to do. It's a lot of it's not that it's boring. It's hard. It's difficult. You have to make sacrifices. So yeah.
Well, I just feel for a lot of girls who, I think girls tend to maybe want marriage more than guys. I think maybe because girls, I mean, just biologically, we need more, and we want to be protected. We want to feel safe in a relationship. So we desire commitment, like when it comes to relationships. And so I think girls will tend to compromise on that. Like even if they feel like the guy that they're with isn't wanting that, they will still be in a relationship with a guy who isn't wanting that because they're hoping maybe to change them, or like if I prove that I'm good enough, or if I prove, but to find guys, honestly, like you, Benjamin, who are just like, hey, let's define the relationship in like 3 months and then we'll decide if this is gonna work. Like, who does that? Like, like actually set a time. Like people will date for like 10 years and then realize like we probably should have broken up like 5 years ago.
Like, so for me, I grew up in a pretty healthy family. My parents get along with each other. I get along with my parents. So for me, having my own family, starting my own family, has been something that I've been looking forward to ever since I was a teenager. I've been waiting for literally almost 20 years to have my own family, to be able to take care of my wife, to be able to take care of my kids, to be able to watch my kids grow up. It's something that I've been looking forward to my entire life.
Because you had it modeled for you.
Yeah, the tragedy is most people do not grow up in a healthy family.
Yeah, they don't know it's possible, probably.
Many people grow up in a very broken family. Yeah. So their idea of marriage, their idea of a family is very different from my experience.
Yeah.
However, you still look forward, anybody can agree, having a strong, healthy marriage, having a close relationship with your family is something that most people look forward to. So even though a lot of people grow up in very broken families, they still look forward to having their own good, healthy relationship in a marriage and have a loving family and start a loving family. But they have no idea how to do that, how to achieve that, what it even looks like.
Yeah.
So the world is continuing to become more and more messed up. So yeah, that's modern dating. Is everybody just basically, it's like playing the Russian roulette. It's like trying to win the lottery.
Yeah, it feels like that. It feels like that. And maybe we could even talk about, because 昨天晚上我跟奶哥有一起直播嘛, and we talked about like dating Christians and non-Christians. And I have to be honest, like in the past, I'm a lot like Michelle. I also grew up very conservative family, and I grew up in church. And so for me, non-Christian was immediately red flag. But what you were saying about playing Russian roulette, like even dating in Christian circles feels that way, because just because you say you're Christian almost means nothing. You could have very bad character, very bad morals, and just be a bad person, but be quote unquote Christian. I don't know. So now me, like, I'm just like, dang, do I have to like go outside, like look at other, like, it's just like, and then my aunt was telling me like, I'm narrowing my pool way too much if I'm only looking at Christians, because just like generally it is like winning the lottery. So if I'm already narrowing my lottery pool even more, that I'm never gonna win the lottery. That's what it feels like. Honestly, that's what it feels like. So I'm like, how can I like better my chances? I don't know. Do you have any advice for me?
Yeah, the way to better your chances, first of all, is to meet more people, of course. Meet more people.
How do you... Okay, sure. Yeah.
The more people you meet, the higher, the more likely it is that you find somebody who's compatible, and even find a good Christian who's looking forward to getting married.
But for like people who grew up in church, you grew up with these same people all around you. You've already met everyone around you.
Oh, I mean... Be creative. Go out there. Be out there. Go meet more Christians. There are a lot of Christians. So in Taiwan, I think we have something like almost 1 million Christians. And let's say 500,000 are men. And let's say within the 500,000, 10% are within a acceptable age group that you would, consider dating or marrying. So that's still 50,000 men. Christian men, and let's say only 1% of them are actually good Christians with good character. That's still 500 who are within the age group that you're looking for and who are good Christian men. There are 500 of these men out there somewhere here in Taiwan. I'm just counting Taiwan.
Do they speak good English?
Okay, so there you go. The more stuff you add on to your requirement list, it's going to go down. So yeah, maybe out of the 500, 10% of them speak good English. You're narrowing it down to 50. What else would you like to add?
Come on, you guys got to have attractive on your list. I have to...
Okay, let's say 10% of them are attractive. Now you have 5.
Well, then those do not sound like good odds.
Yeah, so you have to pick and choose which of the requirements to take out.
First, out of all the
No, but so this is what we were talking about the last 24 hours, right, since I've been hanging out with you guys, is this whole thing about me realizing like, okay, maybe the whole Christian label is just that. It's just a label, but the most important thing is this person's character and
would you rather give up
compatibility.
Would you rather marry a Christian who speaks good English and has good character? Or would you rather marry a Christian who doesn't speak English at all but has good character?
Wait, what?
Which one?
Both are Christians?
No, one of them is a Christian. One of them isn't.
So the non-Christian
the
speaks
difference
English?
Is the English. Yeah, the English ability. If you had to give up.
If it's just English, but are they both good looking?
Yeah, they look the same. Exactly the same. They're twins.
But do I get along with both in the same way?
Yeah, about
compatibility.
Roughly
then I think Christian for sure.
So you'd rather give up him?
No, I think at the end of the
day,
day, it's getting along. It's the compatibility. It's the personality. It's the conversation and the company. So like English is a little part of that because like I need to have conversation.
Just like you believe a person can learn English. Maybe he doesn't speak English right now. He'd be learning. Yeah. Do you think compatibility can go up also? So let's say this guy, he's 30 years old, never really had a girlfriend. He's awkward. Yeah. Do you think his awkwardness can be changed? Do you think his compatibility with you can be changed? Yeah. Do you think once you get to know him after 3 months, 6 months, you guys could get along a lot better than you did, the first time meeting him for 10 minutes?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm very hopeful. It's just, okay, so like we talked about this in the live stream. I think a number one character that I look for is humility in the sense that this person is willing to change and improve, because then that will give me hope. So like even if they're at this level right now, I can have hope that they'll be at another level in the future. Whereas someone else who already be at this level, but they're not willing to change, I wouldn't be as attracted to that person. So I think for me, it's more about that. It's more about, do I feel like I can constantly grow with this person? There's hope for our relationship. We can work things out. Yeah, then that's fine, I think.
So my theory is most men who are in their 30s, who are still single, are men who are not as attractive to women as the others. So it could be their looks, and it could be how they have hold conversations with you. So yeah, but these can be improved.
In their 30s? Oh, you're saying they're still single because they're just not as attractive.
If you're good looking, and if you're like really attractive, and if you can hold a conversation with a girl like very well, you would not be single by the time you're in your mid-30s.
No, or they choose to be single. I know a lot of guys who choose to be single because they have way too many options.
And yes, and I would not recommend dating these men.
Those are already off the list automatically.
Because these are the men that I just mentioned. They are the kind of guy who are going to be intimidated when you mention marriage. They'll be like, oh, I'm not ready yet. I'm only 36.
They won't say that they're intimidated. They'll just say that they're waiting for the right person.
Yeah, forget those guys. If they're 36 and still waiting for the right person, forget about it.
So we were just I was asking Benjamin for advice. Besides meeting more people, we can end on this segment. Besides meeting more people, what else? What advice would you give to Melody? And you could think about it too, yeah.
Well, I really think meeting more guys is going to make a huge difference. So yeah, try to meet 100 guys within the next 365 days.
I mean, I was going to up my chances for meeting more guys because as you guys know, I was planning to go to New York City. That's postponed for a little bit. But so this, I don't know, like maybe I am thinking about it in the wrong way because I feel like all the guys that I can meet in this city, I've met.
That's literally impossible.
I don't know, like Christian guys. Because I travel a lot. I go to a lot of churches. Okay, anyway. So I was like, the only way if I'm gonna meet more people is I gotta go to another city. I gotta go to another big city.
Well, Taipei is already really big. So my theory is your standards are way too high. That's it. Your standards are way too high.
What are my standards, Benjamin? What are my standards?
You don't want the guy to be younger than you?
I never said that.
Oh, really? So
I never said that.
25-year-old, okay?
Yeah, I never said that he has to be older than me.
That's okay. That's a typical misunderstanding then.
Yeah, no, I'm totally open.
I think, according to your standards, I think there are still a lot of guys in their early 20s or mid 20s who are still single, who will meet all of your requirements and standards.
No, okay, so I have met guys like that, but they don't like me. Look, the thing is, like, compatibility.
If you meet 100 of them, I think a couple of them will like you.
It's like winning the lottery because at the end of the day, you have to like them, they have to like you back. These sort of things.
So you need 100. That's where the 100 comes from. My theory is out of 100 people, maybe 20 of them or 15 of them will be compatible with you. And then within the 15 who could be potentially compatible with you, only 3 or 4 are going to be willing to start a relationship with you. And then within the 3 or 4, only 1 or 2 are going to be people who you seriously would consider marrying. So that's where.
So Benjamin, that's not very encouraging. You're telling me like in all these people in the world, there's only 1 or 2, and then guess what?
No, not
one
all the
of
people.
Them...
100. When you go out and meet 100 potential people, then out of the 100 people, probably 2. But you have to meet 100 people. So yeah, that's work. It takes time. So that's why I encourage most people, by the time they're in their early 20s, start meeting people. Because you're probably going to have to go through 100 before you actually find 1 or 2 who can actually start a serious relationship with you.
How am I going to find 100?
Yeah, it takes time, it takes effort. You have to see it as a part-time job. You have to put like 20 hours into it every week. Literally.
I mean, also like, I mean, I want to hear what Michelle's advice is, but like, also that doesn't feel like work that I should be putting in. I thought it's supposed to be the guy's work.
But there are way too many Christian girls compared to guys.
It's just
like 2-3 times more Christian girls than guys. I know that's a problem. That's why I want to start like a men's club to see what I can do about that. But before that happens, this is reality. It's a sad fact.
well, I mean, so that's why I just feel like a lot of Christian girls are just not looking for Christian guys anymore.
I know. Most of them, I think.
But can I
give
be
up.
honest too? I just don't think Christian guys have that much more to offer than non-Christian guys.
If you're looking
Because like
you
a
wanna
lot of
answer?
just because you say you're
Wow.
Christian really doesn't mean anything.
So if we're talking about dating non-Christian guys, now for Christian women, I know it's very discouraging because there are not enough, as far as numbers go, there just aren't enough Christian guys to go around. Which means you are not guaranteed to get married if you are going to marry a Christian guy. It's like there's no guarantee there's one left for you. Like it's very competitive to find a guy with good morals and good character who's attractive. Like that's very rare in the Christian world, especially in Taiwan because the Christian numbers are much more down compared to maybe North America. Although that's also changing because North Americans are being less Christian. But anyways, the biggest difference would be that if you find a guy who's a non-Christian, where do his morals come from? Like if he has good morals or good values or seems to right now, like where does he get them from? Like in the Western culture, because it used to be a Christian culture, a lot of that is baked into the culture. So some guys will have Christian values even if they don't profess Christianity, even if they don't know who Jesus is. So the danger of dating a non-Christian guy is like even if he's like a good moral person, like what are his morals based on, and when is he going to change them? So that's to me that would be the scary part or like the risky part of dating a non-Christian, because I think it's pretty easy to find a guy who is successful, attractive, who would be a good dad. Like to find a guy with these character qualities who's not a Christian. I think you're more likely maybe in Taiwan to find a guy like that than a Christian guy with all the same qualities. That might be possible. Because the Christian guys with those good qualities have already gotten married. That's why.
Yeah.
Not because
First
they don't
come, first
exist,
serve.
but because they already got married.
They're in their mid-30s. They're married.
Yeah, for sure.
If you want to find one that's single, they're still in their early 20s.
Yeah, they're still very young. So you have to snap them up quickly. I don't know. I super lucked out because I met Benjamin. I got married to him. But I put myself in a pool with as many young, single, Christian, good Christian dudes as I could. And it still took me 3 years, almost 3 years, to find one that met my standards. Because I had very high standards. And I was still in my early 20s when we met. So I didn't have to wait until I was like 30-something, 40-something, and then lower my standards, which I would have had to do. Because the older you get, the fewer good guys there are. That's just a fact. And you might have to lower your standards or even just change what you were expecting. So I think when you're looking for a guy to get married to, you should have a list, but you should also hold it loosely. Because what you think you want and what you're actually going to get are not going to be the same no matter how good a guy you find. And whenever you get married to this person, you're going to discover a lot of flaws about yourself, a lot of flaws about them that you didn't realize before when you were just dating, when you're just friends. And people are malleable. They change a lot. So you're going to change and grow. The person you meet and marry is going to change and grow. So you can't say, oh, this is my standard and you have to fit this box, because people aren't boxes. So I think getting married sometimes, so single guys often seem to be immature. And I think the thing that matures men is getting married and having kids. That level of responsibility is what matures them. So a lot of times when you meet single guys, especially if they're older single guys, they've kind of been stuck for a long time. Unless they have like a super successful career or a super successful aspect to their lives, they're kind of immature. And it's because the relationship that they develop with a girl and the relationship they have when they have become a dad, that is what really changes them. And the same is kind of for girls, but girls seem to mature earlier, or they're more naturally like motherly most of the time. So that's the difference between the men and women, I would say. So what you want to find is somebody who is a good seed. You're not looking for an oak tree yet. You're looking for somebody who's like a good acorn.
Yeah.
Because you know that if you invest time into this person, they're going to grow into something mature and someone that you can rely on. So I heard that back when I was in Bible school. But I just happened to find an oak tree. I don't know what happened. That was not my fault. maybe
Benjamin was already an oak tree.
Maybe I'm more attractive than I think I am, and something happened.
Michelle's
I don't know.
dad was very confused by Michelle.
By me.
Because he said, well, okay, if this Benjamin guy is as good as my daughter says, why has he been single for so long?
My
That's what
dad
your
asked him that question.
Yeah.
Oh,
So basically he said, you must have red flags. Tell me. And then I answered, no. You have the whole question backwards. The real question is, wow, Michelle must be amazing, because a person like Benjamin, who's been single for so long, who's been looking for a partner for a long time, actually picked Michelle in the end.
Oh.
So
Yeah, no, that question definitely is valid. I asked that question. I think about that question, like, if you are as good as you say you are, why are you still single? And I've been asked that question, like, why are you still single? It makes sense. It's a valid question. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm holding too many children. I think that I think sometimes for single women, a lot of the time, because of the numbers thing, it's not our fault that we're single. Not that I'm single right now, but I mean in general for Christian girls. It's not necessarily your fault. You're not doing something wrong. But there's always something you can improve. So if you can take as much responsibility as you can for your singleness, the fact that you haven't found someone yet, take as much responsibility as you can. That gives you the most power to change your situation. Because if you think, oh, it's not my fault, and then you don't do anything to change because you're like, I'm already doing everything right, that's not going to increase your chances. So,
well, the definition of insanity, right, is you do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Yeah. Well, yeah. Thank you, Nika and Michelle, for being on this podcast and for featuring your beautiful kids. Yeah, I think it was good just to hear you guys share the story, like how you guys met, even though we didn't get to the marriage part today. But there's a lot of things in your story that I think is very inspirational for young people, and especially young people who are just, getting like you still have the opportunity to decide how you're going to approach relationships. Then I think it's good to make those decisions now before you actually get into it. But obviously it's never too late. Yeah. And thank you also for your advice. And I will think about my life. Yeah. All right. 谢谢大家观看. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Bye bye.
Bye bye.